Hello. Today I want to talk about Unix. I want to do a quick Unix tutorial. Basically, what you might need to know to install and get around in Linux. Basically, because Greenplum is only a Linux product, so or Unix. It does go on Sun, although I can't imagine who would be doing that anymore. So I wanted to go through how to get around in Linux. The basically, without Linux knowledge, you can't really install it and you can't really maintain it. So you need to know how to get around to it. So what I have here is a virtual machine. It is the pivotal virtual machine that's already got the Greenplum installed on it. Again, you see it says pivotal here. That's just basically a background image. For those of you who don't know what a virtual machine is, it is a window that acts as if it's a system itself. Okay, so it's an all-encompassing system within a window. Okay, that's how I can have Linux running on my laptop, my Windows laptop. So the idea here is whether it's a virtual machine or whether it's a regular machine, you would have a console. This is what we call a console. When it opens up, it has a handful of tabs up here to work with. Here you've got preferences, administration, help, lock screen, lockout, shutdown, places, applications, internet, in this case Firefox, let's see, character maps, system tools, disk utility, browser, terminal. Now what I always do is put a terminal on the desktop. Now what the terminal is, let's open that up. Terminal is actually a Unix window where you're going to actually go to command line and start running things. So it's just like, if you are aware of the old DOS days, it is a command line. Everything you do is typed in on a command. So there are a handful of commands that are very important. The first one is pwd. Pwd is print working directory. That will tell you where you are in, as far as within the file system. Okay, so let's see. You want to see what kind of file systems you have? df. df gives you what file systems you have. Now it's going to be, I'm not going to go into great detail on this. This is just a quick tutorial. So this is showing you slash. Slash is considered the root directory, the main directory. Everything is mounted on slash. So slash, in this case, is this many blocks big, and there this many used and this many free. Or the other way to say it is 31% free. Now, when I say blocks, you don't have to worry about it too much. That is units of disk. Okay, when you read off of a hard disk, it will take chunks of data in block size chunks. Okay, you don't have to worry about that. Just realize it's a number of chunks of disk. Okay, now if you want to know it in K, you go df minus K. If I could type, that would be nice. Now, in this case, you notice it gives you the same answer. So actually, this says 1K blocks. So that actually is giving it to you in the 1K blocks. All right. Now, when this, so here's another one, tempfs. This is something that the operating system uses for storage of temporary information. It is mounted on /dev/shm. So if you go to that directory, you're going to find out that, oops, there, you're actually now into the tempfs file system. Let's do an ls. ls is list contents, ls. So now you're never going to want to touch this stuff. This is just internal stuff. But I'm showing you how some file systems are mounted, and they can be mounted on any directory within the file system. So let's go to data, which is more important to us. So cd. Now, if you go cd data, you're going to get an error. Okay, why is that? Because it's actually slash data. When it says slash, it means go back to the root directory and start over. So let's go back to the root directory. Change directory, cd space slash. We'll just start at the root directory. What is in there? Well, you can see two of these file systems, slash data. There that is. So this directory is actually a file system. And boot. So that one is a file system. So they're mounted on directories on the root file system. Everything in Unix is a file or a directory. Okay. So let's go into data. That's actually where we have our database stored. I did a different tutorial on where things are stored as far as Greenplum. Let's go into data, cd data. Now I can do data without the slash because I'm already in slash. I don't have to put the slash in because I'm actually in slash right now. Now if you look at the prompt, this tells you who you are. I'm GPadmin and I am at MDW, which is the host name, and I'm in the directory slash. So I'm going to data now. Now how do I find out what's in data? Well, again, ls. Right? Well, there's a master directory. Okay. So cd, and in Linux you can actually auto finish a statement. So see how it says master? If I put an M and I hit tab, it finishes it for me because that's the only place to go. If it understands where you want to go, it will actually auto finish if you hit tab. And actually I happen to know the next one only has one directory, so I'm going to go /master/ gpseg1. This is the data directory for the master Greenplum. Again, I went over that in a separate tutorial, but just to let you know where we are. Again, what we want to do is we want to see what's in there, ls. Right, and now all the blue ones are directories, all of the black ones are files. Now if you want to see more of that, do an ls -al. That will actually tell you exactly what it is. Let's expand this window so we can see what we're doing. So what you're going to see here when you do an ls -al, you're going to get a lot more information. You're going to get the permissions, which is right here, the very front part. Then you are going to get who owns it, in this case GPadmin. This is the user and this is the group. Okay, you can have multiple people in that group that have access based on if they're in that group. In this case, the group and the user have the same name. Okay, these permissions, the easiest way to explain them is, okay, the permit here, let's show you this one right here. This is a good explanation. So this directory here, gp-perfmon, this one is read, write, execute of the user who owns it, which is GPadmin. Then read, write, execute of the group, which is also GPadmin. And then it's read and execute of everybody else who's not a group or user GPadmin. Okay, so you can actually see permissions very easily, whether you have access to get in the directory, whether you have access to run it. Now X is execute. So you can either read that file, you can write that file, or you can execute that file. Okay, if it happens to be a directory, you need to have read, write, and execute to be able to get into a directory. Okay, in this case I own it, so I can get into anything, so it doesn't matter. You're going to see the size. This is the size of the file. Again, if it's a directory, that doesn't really mean much. It's only in the black ones, which are actual files. Okay, gives you the date it was last modified. Okay, in this case it's December 29th. And now, actually I haven't explained that yet. Hold on. Let's find a file. So the last time this file was modified was December 13th at 1:14 a.m. This is a 24-hour clock on this. In this case, this is our file that we actually have to put users into to authenticate. When's the last time that I actually did that? December 13th 1:14 a.m. Okay, so it's December 31st, so that tells you that a handful of days ago somebody modified this file, which happened to be me. Now this ... okay, what that means, that it references the directory one level above it. So where are we? Let's again pwd, print working directory, right? Pwd. We are in gpseg1. So ... right here represents the master directory right here. Dot right here represents the gpseg1 directory. Okay, now it's not something you really have to deal with, but that's basically what that is. It's a way that it keeps track of permissions and how to move around within the file system. So you don't have to worry about it too much. But what you can do if you want to go back one directory, let's say I do want to go back one directory to master, right? So we're in gpseg1. I want to go back to master. Let's do cd space ... That goes back one directory. Now where am I? pwd. Now I'm in the master, right? Now the other thing you can do here is actually go back to the last directory you're at. cd space change directory space minus. Now that's going to go back to where I was just before. So the last directory I was in, this now puts me in the same one where I'm back in the gpseg1. Okay. What else do you need to know? Let's see. Let's go back to cd/. So you do need to know how to know where the binaries are. So all the binaries for Unix are actually in the /bin directory right here. Okay, so let's go to cd/. Oops, you gotta have the mouse on. cd. Wow, come on. Mouse ran away. Stop running away. Okay. cd/bin. Right. What's in there? Well, it's all my binaries. Okay. CP, right? Copy. CPIO, which is a different type of copy. Cat, which is concatenate. Bash, which is a shell. RM, which is remove. So these are all of your binaries that actually run Linux. Okay, when you run a command, it goes into this directory if your path is correctly, and we'll talk about the path in a second. And it will run it. Okay, so if I run copy or CP, it's going to be running this file right here. And again, let's do an ls-l on that. -l. Okay. Sorry, my mouse keeps moving. Okay, if you notice, it's execute for everybody. Everybody can execute these, which is good because you need to execute these. All right. Like remove dir. So if I want to remove something, it's actually going to be running this. If I type remove dir, then it's going to actually be running that file right there. Now, if you want to know what file you're actually running, there is a command called which. RMDIR. Well, it's in bin RMDIR, right? Which is this exact file right here. So which tells you what file it's going to actually use if you were to issue that command. Okay. So let's make a directory. Let's go back to where we were. Now, if you just do a cd and return, that puts you back into your home directory. In this case, pwd, it's actually /home/gpadmin. Every user has a home directory. So you can actually get a listing of, even if you're not in the directory, you can get a listing of some other directory. So ls space ... So I'm listing /home. Well, there's only gpadmin anyway, so I'm the only one in there. So let's go ahead and create a directory. mkdir make dir test. Right now, ls. Well, we now have a test directory. Okay, let's go to the end of that directory. cd. If my mouse would quit going away. cd test. Ls. Nothing in there, right? Because we haven't done anything. Now you can actually use something called touch to create a file. Now it's an empty file. So touch junk. Okay, now I should have a file named junk there. If I do an ls, sure enough, I have a file named junk, right? Now how big is that? ls, my mouse is really bothering me. Hold on. I'm going to make this bigger so the mouse doesn't run out so fast. Okay, ls, ls minus l, and you're going to see how big this is. It is 0 bytes, which means it's empty. Yeah, well, which makes sense, right? I'm not going to go into VI too much, but VI is an editor, so let's just go ahead and edit this file. VI junk. Alright, now that's going to give us an editor screen. I'm not going to go in at this point how to use VI. VI is a somewhat cryptic editor, but it's very powerful and it's always there. So everybody always uses VI. Insert, that's going to tell me that I'm inserting way down here. I hit I, by the way, to do that, and now I'm just going to type, this is a junk file. Right? It's a junk file, so I'm just going to save that. Now escape, :WQ. No, it didn't work because my mouse keeps running outside of my window. I need to move my mouse out of the way. Okay. Escape, right quick. Okay, now do an ls minus l. Okay, now if you notice, it's no longer 0, it's 20 bytes. All right, because we typed 20 characters. Okay, so we want to, if you want to list what's in a file without actually editing it, you can do cat. I mentioned that here. Stands for concatenate. Cat junk, and it will just print it out to the screen. Okay, whatever's in there. So what I just entered just came out, right? Now there's another thing called redirection you can do. So let's do if you use a caret, you can actually redirect the output instead of to the screen to a file. So let's do an ls. Let's say we want to do an ls space ... Right, we want to see what's in the previous directory, right? But instead of going out to the screen, we want to actually put it into that file. So ls, and we're going to use ... and we're going to redirect the output into the junk file. Okay, so we're going to redirect the output into the junk file. It will not actually come up on the screen, it will actually go to the junk file. See, nothing came out, right? But if we again, now let me point out here, you hit up arrows and down arrows and it remembers your last commands, which is nice. So if I want to cat junk or look at what's in junk, okay, now all of that information, instead of going to the screen, is in my junk file, right? Now, why did I use 2 carets right here? 1 caret replaces the whole file, 2 carets adds to the file. So I still have, if you look, this is a junk file, right? The reason I still have that is because I use 2 carets here. If I use 1 caret, it will replace it. So let's go ahead and run that command with 1 caret. And you'll notice it will only have the listing. It will not have that thing that I typed. So now, cat junk right here, and all of a sudden I'm now missing that thing that I typed up here. This is a junk file. It's no longer in that file because I replaced the whole file. Okay. What else do you need to get around in Linux? Just trying to see what else you need to add. So how do you remove a file? That's a good idea. Okay. Ls. All right. We've got a junk file. Let's go ahead and make several more files. Touch junk 2. All right, now we have a junk 2. Now let's also, the other thing, let's copy cp junk to junk 3. Okay, now if I look in there should be 1, 2, and 3, or actually junk 2 and junk 3. Yep, which we have, right? Now if we want to remove one of those files, so rm remove, rm, not lrm, sorry, rm junk2 ls. Now there's no longer a junk2. That's actually how, and realize this is not Windows. It will not ask you, are you sure? It will just remove it. If you remove everything, it goes away. So just be aware of that. Now let's go back one directory, and I want to see if I can remove this directory now with stuff in it. So we still have junk and junk3 in there, right? So what we want to do is remove this test directory. So let's just go ahead and run the rm test, right? I can't remove it. It's a directory. That's weird. Now I can do rmdir. Okay. Remove dir. Remember that? dir test. Nope, that still didn't work, right? Because it's not empty. Okay, we still have, if you remember, we still have junk1 and junk and junk3 in there, those two files. So, but there is a way to do that right here. You can actually do this, but you have to be careful when you use this because it will remove it and it will not ask you, are you sure? You can do an rm -r, oops, test. Now let's see where it is. It's gone. -r is recursive. It takes everything underneath that directory and removes it. If you did rm -r, and I've done this just as a test on a machine I was going to rebuild, by the way. If you do an rm -r/, it will try to remove everything from the file system, including all the binaries, and just trash your system. But eventually it gets to something it can no longer remove and just blows up. So you do need to be careful with rm -r because it will remove everything. What else do you need? Well, you can do, well, time, a date. Do a date. If you want to know what time the system thinks it is, in this case it says it's 1:28. That's actually not quite accurate, but that's okay. It's getting that from the system clock. Trying to think. Well, there's also direct files that you need to be aware of, and I'll show them to you, but I'm not going to show you how to edit them. So there's this file called .bash profile. If I could type, it would be really nice. I could bash under profile. Okay. Now what's in there is the script that gets run when you first log into the system. It automatically runs this script for. It will run this script when you first log in. It will not ask you, it just runs it. This export is setting environment variables, which will help run your system. So your path gets set. Now what is path? Path is a list of directories that it will look through to find a file that you are requesting. If I run cp, it looks in that path to find the first place that cp exists, or copy. Okay, and in that path, I'll show you. I'll do the environment and let you know in a minute. But inside that path, this path variable is /bin. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that. But basically, these variables help everything run. Okay, they're variables that are used, and it's very important. In this case, for Greenplum home user local Greenplum -cc web. Actually, that's the cc web. OGB perfmon. Okay, I'm sorry. Master data directory /data/master/gpseg1, which we were looking at earlier. PG port is the port that the database is running on. Again, we're not going to go into that too much right now. Now, one thing you notice is source is this. It's actually for here, this one right here. Greenplum path.sh. That actually adds more environment variables for your user. Let's go ahead and look at those environment variables. Let's get out. Control Q, bang, quit. So you want to know what environment variables are set? env. That'll give you all of your environment variables. Okay. So some of those were set with that script. Other ones were set with other scripts like that Greenplum path.sh. So that if you notice, so what is path? It's going to give you that. Here's your path. Oops. Here's your path command. Okay. So this list of directories is where it's going to look for the files that you call out. So when you type cp, it's going to look in this directory first. It's going to look, and then go on down the line. Now where it's finding that cp is right here, /bin. Remember we were looking at that? That was in /bin. So this gives you a list of directories to find the files you need to run. What's my name? Username is gpadmin. LD library path, that's important. That is where it finds libraries to try to run a binary. Many binaries call libraries, which are small parts of programs. Well, I'm not going to go into that too much, but basically a lot of most large programs need libraries to run, and they're just some other parts of programs. Okay. What else is important in here? GP keyboard. Let's see. Desktop session. So they've got a lot of stuff in here that probably isn't actually very important. Master data directory. Again, /data/masters gpseg. What shell we're using? Shell in Linux is, there's multiple shells you can use. In this case, I'm using bin bash or bash shell. You could be using C shell. You could be using K shell. Bash is a newer shell than K shell. Bash includes everything for K shell, but it's a new shell and it has more. A lot of programmers prefer C shell. That is basically, the shell is what is giving you this command line environment to work on. So what we have been doing is running bash shell right now. Okay. You want to see what processes are, so let's see, PS will show you processes that are running. Okay, now it's telling you that if you just type PS, it's just going to tell you your processes that are running right now. In this case, I'm running PS and I'm running bash. Okay, both of which are in the binary directory, by the way, /bin. Okay, now if you want to do more of that, let's see, PS -ef, which is going to give us a lot more of this. And then there's something called grep. Grep is a search tool. You can grep for specific characters inside of your output. Well, actually, I'll show you what ps-ef does. ps-ef shows you every process running on this system. Okay, more than you really ever wanted to know, right? So who's running it? So here, root's running this one right here. Usually libxc use disks, daemon, so that's a daemon that deals with disks. gpadmin's running this, trash. So whenever I log in, gpadmin starts up a lot of processes that you don't realize. Okay, now for Postgres or Greenplum, how you find out if it's running, if you're typing, you can type PS. What is wrong? Why does that mouse keep on? PS -ef. I'm going to pipe it, which means send the output to another command. So we're going to take this command and we're going to pipe it to a grep, which is search for whatever I tell it to search for, post. I'm going to search for the word post in all of the output. Well, there's something, but it's not. Definitely is in the database. So the one thing we do see is the process we just ran. So it actually sees itself, grep for post. We see, see where it has post fixed. So actually I shortened this for instead of typing Postgres, and that's why I came up with some of these other information in this. And post fixed, Postgres. So every one of these lines has the word post in it. So really, to be more accurate, I should say Postgres, but that's okay. All right, now that's the command line, and let's show you a little bit about the desktop environment. Here you have a date, right? You have who you're logged in as, your network. It's a lot like Windows in certain ways anymore. says wired. It's not a wired because it's a virtual machine. What else? And your Windows. So if you minimize, your windows go down to the bottom. Again, very much like Windows. You've got a trash can if you want to throw things away as far as files. There is a file manager, much like in Windows, right? So you can see Windows, and again, these are directories, and go in and look at whatever you want to look at, right? And it does have a PDF reader, so you can read your documentation. Okay, so that works pretty much like Windows. How you must shut things down. Let's go ahead and shut this down now. System, go to System, and you do shutdown. Before we do that, let's look at some administration tasks. So if you need to set up firewalls, if you need to set up kernel, if you need to services, network settings, it's all within this administration tab. Preferences. Actually, preferences is where the network is. So, for instance, if you want to set your network preferences, you go to System, Preferences, and then Network Preferences, or Display. You say I want to set the display, right? Settings. So it's much like your it's a lot like going into Control Panel in Windows, right? So so anyway, I'm not going to go into great detail on how to set up network settings, but this is how you set up your network. It's how you do all of your settings. And of course, how do you shut things down? System, and go shut down. Again, this is a virtual machine. I'm not shutting down my Windows box. I'm shutting down the virtual machine, which is Linux, the MDW. And I type shutdown, or click shutdown, and it goes ahead and shuts down my image. Let's minimize that. So I got way too much stuff on my desktop. So I hope this helped all of you. If you have any questions, go ahead and put in any questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching.